Okay, today we're going to talk about getting a job while incarcerated. And if you don't want to work for this system, which in the feds, you're going to have a job and it doesn't pay well. But if you don't want to work for the system, the jobs that are like no-show jobs here's my list of what I believe are the best ones out there. So how to work for not working, but then get your side hustle on and make a living while inside. If you can work as an orderly in the unit, that's a job you'll want to have. If you work as a gym facilities cleaner, a janitorial service in the gym, that's a job you're going to want to have. If you work in the library, that's a job you're going to want to have. If you can avoid anything in the kitchen, that's a job you don't want to have. Avoid everything in the kitchen if you can. Long hours, no pay, a lot of politics, and depending on the compound you're on, you may or may not benefit from that on a large scale like I did, and I took great advantage of it. But that's not for everybody, and it's not available everywhere. Those are 3 or 4, maybe even 5 that I just mentioned. If you can get into some sort of arts and crafts room, like you occupy space. If you're a facilitator of information, like a teacher, that you can do ACE classes, okay, like a learning class provided to inmates by inmates. These are things you may want to be able to explore, which keeps your time occupied, a little coin in your pocket, and then you can cultivate other hustles. So let's talk about other hustles. I did some things that were frowned upon severely by the Bureau of Prisons, which was bringing in cell phones or booze or tobacco, workout stuff, pre-workout, protein powders, muscle enhancers, things of that nature. I even got to the point of bringing in Old Bay seasoning because we like to cook in the unit, in the cells, and we wanted some real spice, some real flavor. I actually had Starbucks coffee brought in for me, so I can have my own special blend. These are things that I took advantage of. I went as far as to get some softball cleats ordered to be brought in before I got locked up in the hole. That's one way of hustling, and that pays extremely well, but it's extremely dangerous and very volatile to your time as far as good time earned, facility change, going up the ranks as far as like if you're in a camp, you'll get moved up to a higher security level, which may not exactly be a good thing for you depending on who you are. So when you go behind the razor wire, as they call it, if you're behind the wire, it's not a fun place to be, man. You talk about politics, there's politics. And there's not like negotiated politics. It's you go along and get along. So those are things you got to contemplate when you're looking at that. My idea of a side hustle on a more legitimate side of things is, again, doing laundry. If you're not a guy that has many skills and you want to make some side cash and you don't have a lot of money coming in from your people for commissary or phone or email and text, getting a side hustle is going to be important for survival as far as just the basic needs, other than the kitchen, what they provide. So get a side hustle doing laundry. Shake down the unit that you're in and ask if you can do somebody's laundry for them, like a wash and fold. They provide the cleaning agent, which typically is like a Tide Pod, and or dryer sheets if that's what they choose to have. And your day is occupying the laundry room, tying up a washer, tying up a dryer, and making your money, and do a good job. And sooner than later, do a good job and be affordable. Sooner than later, you have 4 or 5 guys a week want you to do their stuff maybe twice a week. That could be $100 a month collectively. Cleaning out cells, cleaning out units. If you don't mind doing a janitorial type of work, wiping down lockers, wiping down shelves if they have any, wiping down window seals and casings, doing the floors with a mop and a bucket, out of the hall closet for the custodial work, so you can clean the units and make sure that everything's nice and snapped up. Everybody likes to be clean. There's not many Viking-style living arrangements in prison, or if there are, they are frowned on immediately by the higher-ups, meaning shot callers, and that changes pretty quick. So be that guy and help others do that, again, at a reasonable fee. You'll get a clientele, earn yourself a decent living. Most of that work's done on the weekends, so your weekdays, if you've got a no-show or a 15-minute-a-day job, you got a pretty easy life and you got some extra cash coming in. White collar crime guys typically have a restitution they've got to pay. I started a store. I mentioned that earlier in one of the videos where I had a commissary store of my own. I hustled things out of the kitchen: eggs, peppers, onions. I made personal pies. I made personal pizzas. I made all kinds of things. I did egg rolls. That's why having hookups with the veggie prep guy. You get some cabbage, some meat out of the commissary, some wraps. Use the kitchen's deep fryer. Wrap them with some dental floss so they don't fall open. Throw them in a deep fryer. Take them back to the unit. You sell them for $2 a hit. I got maybe 20 cents invested in each. All right, those are the things you can get creative with. If you have a store, you can sell these items for people to be able to make that. And if you've got a connection in the kitchen, you guys get your side hustle. Get your side hustle on making these things that people used to have out in the street. Getting creative and making things people want. When I baked, I used to bake cookies, and like these little things that you would see at Starbucks. I can't even think the name of these. Like these little chocolate straw cookies. I would make cinnamon rolls. I never try to make like donuts and things of that nature. It's too much of a headache. But these are all things you can do to get your extra cash going. So we talked about laundry. We talked about washing out the cells. There's guys that are very good at cooking, and they're very creative. Where I was at, we did not have microwaves. In order to heat up food in the unit, you had to use what they call 190, which is 190 degree water, or 210, depending on where you're at. Or you made a stinger, where you got some electrical wire. You got some guys that work down at ground maintenance or welders or whatever for the compound. They would bring up some electrical wire. You would take it to like a metal plate, get a bucket of grease, like a trash can, and get some cooking oil out of the kitchen, and then you would hook that up to an outlet and drop that into the grease, and that would fry chicken in like minutes. They're called stingers. So you had guys that were very good at using these stingers, highly illegal in the compound. They'll throw them away typically. They won't ship you for it. But it's a fast way to cook fried food if you're into that kind of thing. If you got guys hustling chicken out on Thursdays, which is chicken day, you can deep fry your chicken and get creative on how to make a batter and bread it and all these other wild ass things. You can also do take an iron out of the closet the guys use to iron their clothing for visits. Use that iron and make like pressed sandwiches, like paninis, with a wrap. So there's all kinds of cooking tricks or cooking hustles going on. The key is finding a group of guys that can do a little bit of everything and spread the love between you and get your own little group working together and get your hustle on that way. You got guys providing different things, whether it's hustling things in the system, working and cleaning cells, cooking and using other people's commissary and other people's foods to benefit from it. So therefore you break that down or add to it and cook all together, and you get yourself a nice meal on a daily basis, the best a person can buy. These are the little scenarios that you're going to look for and want to kind of click up with. Warehouse workers, guys that go down and handle incoming goods that go to commissary, or items going to the kitchen, the vegetables and the fruits, the meats. These guys have direct access to all that stuff. So when there's like bacon or sausage on a Sunday, which is rare, but when it's there, these guys have availability to packages. I think the sausage links came with like 50 in a package. And when I was in the kitchen, it would be nothing for me to walk out with 2 bags of that frozen, so 100 links in my net bag, undetected, because I was pretty slick about it. And I would go over to my unit where I also had eggs, and we would poach eggs in a bowl of water, 190, and a little bit of vinegar, and learn how to poach eggs. And we would have ourselves a nice breakfast that would normally be seen in a kitchen in somebody's home. And here yet we're doing it in the unit, all again against the system's rules and regulations, but having those connections and being dialed in that way helped facilitate that egg and sausage kind of show up. Other guys would bring peppers and onions and just make a nice little breakfast, and we would enjoy that. That was our thing. How can we have a good breakfast on Sunday? We did our own thing. I never ate in the kitchen other than chicken day. Thursdays I would eat, but it was only because I wanted to get 5 or 6 pieces to take out of the unit and sell for $5 a hit. That was my little $25 bang on Thursdays. I'd take 5 pieces of chicken, all the brothers wanted to buy $5 a throw, easy 25 bucks. Typically I would receive it in commissary, and that would supply my store, and I would sell that stuff to the white collar guys. So you can see quickly where, having a no-show job is one way of easily getting by, and then finding your real side hustle, staying in the unit, doing things, is one way to survive with people. Another way is getting into the kitchen on a level of being a baker or a cook, or a veggie prep guy, and having hookups there, getting some items that are heavily desired on the compound back out and quickly selling them to people who are steady eddies. They'll always be there for you, they'll always buy it, and that'll help pad your commissary count as well. Excuse me. So those are a couple hustles. If you're a bright guy and you're an educated person doing a white collar crime, go in there, teach people how to do stuff. There's a lot of guys that are self-made attorneys in prison because of the studying their case, fighting their case and appeals, and they help others write appeals for their cases. Take advantage of that. Use your skill and your talent. If it works and you know the system, and if you learn how to do that, sell your services. I've seen guys making 50 bucks a week working on other guys' cases because they can't afford an attorney or a real attorney, and they have no way of supporting themselves, but they have their hustles and they have their gigs in prison or whatever they're doing to get their money, and they find the guy that's doing the work for them that's knowledgeable enough in the legal system and has got some early successes with appeals and responses. They pay 50 bucks a throw every time the guy writes a legal briefing for them. You're making a couple $100, maybe $1,000 a month writing legal briefs or appeals for people. That's not a bad place to be if you're doing nothing else. Sitting in the library all day long and again, bettering yourself or educating yourself, staying out of the way. Other people do real estate. There's a lot of real estate fraud. Guys know how to do it legitimately, but they've obviously gotten a taste of money, and the greed factor, clicked in for them, so they went to the deep end of that. But there's guys teaching classes on how to sell houses and flip houses, or how to invest. I did some time in the hole with a guy that was a big investor in flipping properties in the DC metro area. He had his entire case file with him in the hole because he was fighting his case. There was some manipulation of facts by the federal government, which isn't too shocking, against him, which gave him 25 years. And he was now on number 18 as far as his years served, but his case was finally getting overturned. So I don't know what that looks like in give back, but reading his case files and looking at what he did, this guy was an extremely bright guy. We spent 30 days together because every 30 days you get shipped around and they kind of, break you up a little bit. Long story short, I learned a lot from the guy. He learned a lot from me. Our industries were very similar, and our education is very high up in what we did. And it's just a fun time to spend time with a guy and learn a different way of life and or a possible trade. So you can get these educations from other people, and again, selling services is not uncommon or unheard of. There's gym activity, there's fitness instructors, there's guys that are extremely in shape naturally. A guy, Dan, that took me under his wing early on to try and help me get adapting because I was going through some detoxing, really watched over me, and I really appreciate it. Much younger guy, smart guy, a very promising career with anything he's going to do. And from out of Potomac, Maryland, so not far out of the neck of the woods that I'm from or work in, we shared a very common goal and bond at the immediate Get Me Better and Healthier, and he taught these classes twice a day. I would get up with him on weekends every once in a while with the group that he worked out with, and we would share some things. And he was just a very good, motivating young man and taught a lot of people a lot of helpful things and helped people pass time, lose weight, and stay in shape. So, you can do those things as well. There's guys that do arts and crafts and write cards, customized cards, or they'll do, photographs if you have of your family. They'll sit there and really just color up a very nice handwritten, hand-drawn card of that photo. And send out to your people for a birthday or Christmas or a special holiday. Guys that work the camera, they'll go into the visit rooms on Fridays through Mondays, doing visits, and they will be able to take pictures, and you can buy them with tickets from the commissary. They had their own little side hustle where they'd be on the compound taking pictures of guys working out, crews that hung together, and they'd sell them at $1 a pick. which again, compound money is typically what was used, which is a mackerel. So there's 5 or 6 different ways of sitting there incorporating talents, skill sets, and abilities to better your time and better your wallet while there. And then the no-show jobs at the beginning of this video. A lot of different ways to get your hustle on and make some money. If you do it neatly and cleanly within the system and not break the rules and the laws of bringing stuff into the compound, like packages of whatever, booze, cigarettes, and so on. Anyways, a lot of helpful stuff here. If you're going into the system and you're getting ready to serve some time, take from this what you will. It will help better your time. It'll help you make some moves quickly and navigate how to set yourself up. Look at that store thing. White collar guys have money, but they can't put it on their books, but they have access to money on the outside. There are people who can put money on their books for you, or they'll typically have a lot of compound payment, whether it's stamps or max. They can pay you that way, and then you turn that into whatever you want to, cash or trade out for commissary. It's just one big circulation of hustling. You got to get dialed in and get engaged before you can make anything. So, long story short, look at this information, break it down. Like I said, if you're going away or if you just think some of this shit's interesting, like and subscribe. I'm going to put a lot of this prison stuff out here because the experiences were overwhelmingly positive, even though I've done some things to put myself in bad positions like the hole and getting shipped around the U.S., going up rankings in security and being exposed to some clicks on the low-level prison level that was very interesting to watch and observe how people got along or did not. Seeing death in prison. I've seen death in prison as well. My first weekend in Kentucky, several people died on the compound that weekend from overdosing on K2 and just doing wild things. So lots of things to talk about. Interesting stories at a minimum, helpful information for some, and just overall conversation. So like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Peace and love. We'll see you soon.